Hey guys, it's Sarah. Thank you so much for watching. So today I have a haul. It's kind of a collective haul. I'm going to be sharing some things that I ordered from ColourPop recently, and then a few other things I've picked up here and there. If you watched my ColourPop cart declutter about a month ago, this is kind of an update on what I actually ended up buying, because I did tell you guys that things that were in my cart by the end of that video were not necessarily set in stone, and a lot of you weighed in the comments of that video, and a lot of the things that were in the cart I did end up keeping, but I did switch a few things around too. So I wanted to go ahead and share those products first. With what I actually did end up buying, I spent $51, and if you remember at the end of that video, I was right around, I think around 53. So I actually did spend a little bit less than I said I was going to, but there was also a 20% off sale going on, so that helped. Yeah, I think my budget was about 50, so I went just a tiny bit over. You may remember I had the Sweet Talk palette in my cart, and I ended up deciding not to buy that because it does have pressed glitters like a lot of ColourPop palettes do, and those are technically not eye safe. They're also made of like microplastics from what I hear, and so a couple of you guys were kind of able to sway me against buying it, so I didn't end up buying it. I was just kind of feeling like not that excited about it anyway. I kind of just wanted to buy it so that I could have a ColourPop palette in my collection, and none of the other palettes really spoke to me that much either, so I just didn't end up getting a palette, but I did get two new Super Shock shadows, which might surprise you because I've talked here and there about how I don't really like to buy packaged single eyeshadows like this. I like the magnetic ones. I kind of moved away from buying single shadows like this for a while, but I don't know, part of me was just curious to try more. I only had one in my collection previously, the shade Liberty, which is like a really metallic silver, and I kind of wanted to get a couple of shades that could be like one and done shadows for every day, and so I got the shades Bill and Sailor. Bill is actually one of their matte shades, which I feel like usually they're known for their shimmery or metallic Super Shock shadows, but I kind of wanted to try a matte shade. I love this type of color, and this is gorgeous all over the lid, just as like a beautiful rosy wash of color on its own. And then the shade Sailor is kind of a sheer duochrome. It's like a beige, but then it has some bluish reflects to it and also some like pinkish purple reflects. Kind of reminds me of a lighter, more sheer version of Glass Bull, except that it does have some pink to it too. So really pretty. Honestly, this is probably something I would use more as a topper shade. I'm wearing this on my inner corner today, but the other day I actually wore just these two on my eyes, this all over blended up into the crease, and then the shimmery one on top, and that was beautiful as well. So yeah, I'm excited to have some more Super Shock shadows in my collection. And then I also did end up buying Monster, this Super Shock cheek highlight, and this is one of their pearlized finishes. I'm wearing this as well. This is different than I was expecting. I feel like whenever I hear people talk about ColourPop highlighters, usually they're described as like very metallic, very punchy, very like, you know, intense highlighters, which I like intense highlighters sometimes, not all the time, but that's what I was expecting with this one. This is like a frosty pinkish white duochrome. But it's actually very sheer, and it looks like it would be very frosty just looking at it, but the whiteness doesn't really pick up once you blend it out on your skin, and you're really just left with this very sheer pink shift to your skin. So yeah, not what I was expecting, a lot more subtle than I expected, but I guess that's a good thing if you're not wanting like a very frosty, intense highlighter. I think I like it. Keep in mind, I've only used each of these things like once or twice, if that, so this is a true haul. It's not a review yet, kind of just sharing my first impressions, but I can maybe do a haul update if you'd be interested in the future. Just let me know. So in my cart declutter video, you saw me pick this flat top eye brush at the last minute. This is their E11, and I did use it today to smudge black eyeshadow as winged liner on my upper lash line. I've only used it a couple times. I think I like it, but I don't know if I like it more than like a small angled brush like this. I thought it would make doing like a smudgy wing a little bit easier, because I've seen other people use this type of brush and get like the perfect wing that's still super sharp at the end, but kind of smudgy at the top. I don't know if I'm describing that very well, but it's very, very stiff and very thin, so I don't know if it's quite as like smudgy as I was expecting it to be, but I still think it'll be useful. I did end up choosing another brush because I think it was a subscriber named Jenna who said that she really likes the small Fluff brush. I kind of just liked the name. It just sounded cute. This is their F5 face brush. She said that she really likes this one for highlighter, and before I only had the Real Techniques setting brush for highlight, and I kind of just wanted to try something different. So I will say this one isn't quite as tapered along the side as the Real Techniques setting brush, but I used it today for one side of the highlighter, and I think it did a good job. I don't know if you're really meant to use a brush with this highlighter, but I also used it with my favorite Champagne Pop from Becca, which is a powder highlighter, yesterday, and I thought it did a really good job. A little bit more targeted than I'm used to with my setting brush from Real Techniques because, again, like I said, it's less tapered. I used the side to lay it down, and then I turned it this way to kind of buff it out, and I did really like the way it applied that way. So I think that this will be a brush that I get a lot of use out of. And then the same two lip products that were in my cart previously stayed in my cart, and I did end up buying both. The Ultra Glossy Lip in Champagne Mami, and then the Ultra Blotted Lip in Soda Pop, which is what I'm wearing right now. So I really like both of these shades a lot. The gloss is like a peachy rose gold, and then this is, as you can see, a color that's right up my alley. It's like a rosy berry, but it's subtle. So really big fan of both colors. I don't like the applicators on these one bit. I'm gonna tell you right now. The gloss it's like a stiff brush. I just think I would much prefer a doe foot applicator for gloss. I don't know, I had to kind of break the brush in. Like, at first it was very stiff, and I found that when I kind of pushed it onto my hand a little bit, it became a little more flexible. I don't know, it's like all the bristles were just like stuck straight at first. So not a fan of the applicator at all, but the color is really pretty. I've only kind of swatched it on my lips. I haven't actually worn it for a long period of time, so again, I'll report back on how I like that. The Ultra Blotted Lip is a doe foot, but it's a very stubby doe foot, if that makes sense. I found it kind of hard to apply the first time I applied it, but today, the second time I applied it, I kind of got the hang of it a little bit more. I guess it just takes some getting used to. The first time I wore this, not only did I have trouble with the applicator, but it also just looked really patchy and streaky. But it could just be that my lips were kind of dry and not prepped well. So today, I think my lips were a little bit more hydrated going in, and it does look a lot better today. Now, I've only been wearing it for like 15 minutes, so I'm curious to see how it wears. If it continues to behave for me, I think I'm gonna like this because you can tell by the name, it basically gives you that look of like a blotted liquid lip. So let's say you were to apply a liquid lipstick, and then kind of blot it with a tissue so that you could sheer it out and just get a little bit more of a blurred effect. That's what this is meant to do, I think. So I really like that concept. Now, of course, you can blot whatever lipstick you want. It doesn't have to be one of these. You know, you could do that with any lipstick, but it's kind of like a liquid lipstick, just more sheer and a very thin consistency. And at least right now, it really doesn't feel very dry at all on my lips. Seems to be completely transfer proof as well. I'm thinking maybe lighter shades of this formula would be a safer bet because there would just be less of a chance for streakiness, but either way, I really do like the color, and I'm curious to see how much I end up liking it. The only other things I bought from ColourPop, so I think there were 3 magnetic single shadows in my cart when I did my cart declutter, and I ended up only getting 2, and now my ColourPop palette is completely full, and if I'd gotten 3, I would have had an extra. Now, I do have another magnetic palette that I could put like overflow shades into, but it kind of makes me happy to just have one palette filled. I ended up only getting Earthshine and Thank You Next, and I didn't get Heavenly. Heavenly was like the kind of minty green looking metallic one, and I don't know, when I was placing the order, I just kind of felt like, you know, I don't really think I want this that badly. So these were the 2 shades that I was more interested in, and these were the 2 shades that a lot of you guys recommended to me and said that you love, so that's why I went for these instead. But today I'm not wearing Thank You Next, but I am wearing Earthshine on my lid, and I really like it. I also just think lately I haven't been feeling as excited about single shadows as I was earlier this year, in like late 2018 was when I was really into them, and I feel like single shadows kind of had their moment last year and maybe the beginning of this year, and now it kind of seems like people are moving on a little bit. I mean, I could be totally wrong about that. I still think they're a great way to supplement your collection and fill in gaps, any like color gaps that you have. When I was first filling up my cart, I had a bunch of single shadows in there, and that's why I only really ended up getting 2, because I was kind of just realizing I don't know if I want to try, like I don't find myself reaching for my single shadows that often. I'm feeling more gravitated towards palettes lately, so that's why, anyway, that's why I only got those 2. I do think they're gorgeous. I'm excited to play with them. But yeah, I may kind of slow it down on collecting single shadows from here on out. I mean, who knows? In a year or 2, maybe I'll be like really into them again, but yeah, that's my thoughts on those for now. So those are all the ColourPop things I ended up buying. But like I said, this is kind of a collective haul, and I have picked up a few more things in the last couple weeks that I wanted to share with you. I ended up buying a new sunscreen, a new face sunscreen, because I was realizing that I was gonna try to hold off until after I moved so that I wouldn't end up having to move a bunch of toiletry products that I didn't have to. So the problem is though, I'm running really low on the sunscreen that I already had. So I thought, you know what, I don't wanna feel pressured to like ration my sunscreen, because it's something that I use every day and I apply a generous amount every day. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and buy a new one so that I can have it and don't have to worry about being without sunscreen. So I ended up getting one that I've heard so many good things about, and it's the Krave Beauty Beet Shield. This is a Korean brand. They make a bunch of skincare products. Now, it doesn't say SPF anywhere on the bottle, because I think the reason is because there's a Korean version called Beet the Sun, and it's SPF 50, but the sunscreen ingredients are only approved for use as sunscreen in Korea. I think the US is a little bit behind on a lot of things, but including SPF and skincare research and stuff. So that's why the American version is not labeled as a sunscreen, but it is a sunscreen, and I've been assured of that by a couple of YouTube experts that I follow. Dr. Dre, and I know Hiram also has recommended this, and they are both like sunscreen gods and goddesses, so I trust their word. I'm wearing this today. I've only worn it twice, but upon first impression, I am extremely impressed. It is so lightweight. It's like I'm not even wearing sunscreen. It sinks right in. It is super lightweight, has kind of a, I don't want to say liquidy consistency, but it's a kind of thin cream, so it's not like one of those super thick sunscreens. It claims that it has no white cast, and from my experience, there is no white cast. Like, I do not see any kind of white cast. It goes on almost completely clear, and it sinks in super quickly. I don't know. This seems like impressively good. The only thing I'm gonna say is it's a really tiny bottle, like tiny. This has 50 milliliters, which I think is just over 1 fluid ounce, and it is 20 bucks is what it retails for. So 20 bucks is kind of like at the top of my usual price range for sunscreen, and for such a small amount of product, it's not a very good value. But I mean, if it's that good, I think I can probably make an exception and maybe just stock up if they're ever having a sale or something. But so far, I'm very, very pleased by this. I will keep you posted. And then just a couple of makeup products I bought the other day from Target. I was at Target getting a few things that I needed, and I was like, let's browse the makeup, shall we? So I did buy a new foundation, and it's the e.l.f. Flawless Satin Foundation. Now, they used to have, this used to be called their Flawless Finish Foundation, but I was doing a little more research into it, and it looks like they reformulated that Flawless Finish, because I remember I had it back in high school and I didn't like it very much. It had SPF 20 at the time, or some sort of SPF in it. This does not appear to have any SPF, and they changed the name. They also decreased the amount of product that you get. I think it used to be 1 fluid ounce, and now it's only 0.68 fluid ounces, so there's that. But they also expanded the shade range, because I remember when I had the foundation that looked like this in the past, the lightest shade was too dark for me. And I also had oily skin at the time, and I found it too greasy. So that was my past experience with this foundation, but since they seem to have reformulated it and introduced some lighter shades and also some much deeper shades, I was down to try it again. And so I'm just wearing this for the first time today. So far, I'm impressed. but it's just a first impression, so it doesn't mean much. But yeah, seems to live up to the satin finish description. And the shade is really nice. Right now it's actually a little bit light for me because I'm self-tanned, but it's okay. So I'm really glad to see that they expanded the shade range, and I feel like I haven't heard very many people talk about this, so I kind of just wanted to give it another chance. And then I also bought a primer. This is the NYX Angel Veil primer. I think Jessica Braun tried this out in a recent video, and she was testing some of her favorite YouTubers' favorite makeup, and I think it was originally Taylor Wynn's favorite. I've always kind of had my eye on this. Just sounds like a really nice product, Angel Veil. The packaging is pretty, and they describe it as a skin perfecting primer. So it's kind of supposed to be like a skin smoothing primer, but I think I was reading the description online and it said that it's meant more for dry skin. Like it's supposed to be more of a hydrating formula than normally like a pore filling primer would be. So that was what drew me in. Now, I wanted to thank you guys because at my Target, this was retailing for $15.99. And so I was smart. I checked the website to see what it retails for on there, because most makeup is a lot cheaper on Target's website than it is at like Ulta or anywhere else. But apparently including in store, because this was only $7.99 on the website. And in a video a while back, some of you guys told me that you had like worked at Target in the past, and they will price match the prices that are listed on their website. I think they'll even price match competitors' prices. So anyway, I basically got this for half the price of what it was labeled as in the store, because I would not have spent $16 on this. So if you didn't know that, use that trick next time, because sometimes there will be a huge difference between the price online and the price in the actual Target store. Like I know that I've seen the same with the CoverGirl Ultra Fine Brow Pencil. I think it's like $4.79 on their website, and at my store it was like $7 or $8. So yeah, pro tip. But anyway, I'm wearing this today. So far I like it. Again, I'm gonna have to see long term how I feel about it, but it has that velvety feeling to it, but it's not just like a thick silicone primer, you know what I mean? So I do like it so far, but yeah, I kind of just wanted to try it because I didn't really have any like skin smoothing primers in my collection. It seems like there's a lot of air in here, like it's not actually full, but whatever. Either way, I'm really excited about that. So those are all the things that I've bought recently. I've been trying not to buy a ton of new makeup just because, like I said, I'm gonna be moving soon, and whenever I have a move coming up, I try to be very minimal with my spending. But I wanted to update you on my ColourPop order and also just a few other things I'm excited to try. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, definitely make sure you subscribe to my channel if you're not already. I think I'll either do a dedicated haul update for these products, or I'll just include them in a future review roundup. I mean, that would be pretty much the same. I would just be updating you on my thoughts either way. So definitely look forward to hearing more about these once I've tried them out, but I just think hauls are fun sometimes. I don't do them very often, but I like doing them whenever I get the chance to. So anyway, I think that's all for today, but I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.